Sit here. Where the guest?
Wir haben Grace Shabbos. Sie haben Rambam.
His father.
Your father's Yotze.
How many years old? 4 years?
If you want Shutfim, you man darf machen a größer Kiddush. Das ist immer Rambam. Man darf machen...
I'm so tired today, I could help contain this before I
It's Yudalet for 3 פרוקים, and then base for... No, sorry. פרק אחד להיום is Yudalet, the 14, it's a yard, and 42 for the 3 program.
It also means like I'm so trying to help contain this until I realized that it was a little bit early in the sacred to be finishing next shot.
No, what do you mean? We're now in Hilchas Av.
Oh, yeah, but I'm so tired. Help contain is over.
No, you were doing it
But 2
again.
weeks after you start, you're already in the second book, so it's not like...
It's yeah. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Okay.
Big deal, I'd like to make a big knock out of it.
Yeah. Mach a größer Kiddush, das ist ein größer Knack.
I hope you make the sim by the drosh.
Yeah, maybe I'm sure I should bring him. So tomorrow I'm gonna see if sure.
Sunday maybe, for the following Sunday mission.
What?
Maybe we should.
The sim in Sunday, not Sunday.
Thing is, Sunday they every year here.
Yeah.
Could you pass? Every year they make a bring and base year in the. This year they asked me to. So the shluchim of all New York.
Get it together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big deal.
So and I was asking I'm saying something, so I'm not gonna be here.
Right, you're gonna be there.
What time? By night or by day?
They start, I think, 7:00, and they
You
go
have
from
to travel and this.
yeah
You're not gonna make it.
By
Yeah.
night?
by night. Yeah.
So it's
So Shabbos.
Shabbos.
We'll cover everyone.
But we'll see if I can find someone tomorrow. Actually, someone could stay in my house or walk
Stay in
in.
my house also.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, for safe.
Hey, mit was kennen, hab's weglegen, a schöne Siyum oder verbringen, you
You're
know.
not tired of
Sunday night.
No, for Shabbos.
You're not tired of having guests. You're
What?
not tired of having sleepover guests for 3 weeks.
Got a lot of work.
I mean, he just had his relatives.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And his father.
So,
Pretty good.
Baruch Hashem.
so we're going to open the locks in this house and we're going to dig in, open the walls and just be like,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I'm gonna take the schlüssel challah, we're gonna open up all the.
Besides for the raccoons.
Okay.
They have those trumpets.
I bet if Shmuel did not hear why the Bobo making Schlüssel.
It's a beautiful story.
Bobo?
Yeah,
That's
let's start with this.
Very
Maybe we should learn a little bit the Sicha first. It's shame. It's a beautiful Sicha. Okay. On Pasuk, it's a long parsha. Those that learn Chumash Rashi, it's a lot to learn.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
In Tazria,
Basically.
yeah, but it's not like last week where, Ishmini, Sunday is short, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they do not twice.
Only shishi.
A shishi is a knack, all the.
It take a long time.
You
Yeah.
know, here Thursday's very like 2 pages. And then Shabbos is
Tomorrow is the short.
The Metzora is pretty big, but.
And hard though.
Mhm.
very-
But the Rebbe points out, you see an interesting thing in Tazria. It talks about nigei odom, nigei begodim, also the negoim which are in the person, in the skin or in the beard, in the hair, and then
Go with
in the next parasha in Metzora it talks Torah Satahora. It talks all about the Tahara. After the Torah finishes everything, the Torah wakes up. We forgot. One Likkutei forgot about the house. We got to tell you something. What happens in the house? So you should know that the house is the end. After everything. Kisavoy Kisavoyo Leretz Knan, Achen Noisen Lachem Lachuz, Venasati, Neged Saraz, Beves Eretz Achuzas. And over there,
in all three steps. Who's the best person? Then closer to him is close. Closer to him is the house.
but why is it, Frek the Rebbe, that it's that in the other halachas we put in one parsha the halachas of the Tumah, and in the other parsha halachas of Tahara.
Sorry.
And when it comes to here, which is the Neged Saraz Beves Eretz Achuzaschem, we put it in one knak, and the end, and in one knak the Tahara and the Tumah all together. I mean, some of the Meforshim say that the reason why it's said at the end is because the other Negoim were also in the Midbar. Mashenkein, Nigei Begodim were also in the Midbar. Nigei Tsaras Oirabosor was in the Midbar. Mashenkein, the ones in the houses were only in the Kanat Yisrael. So, right. So first of all, not everyone agrees. The Ramban says Nigei Begodim also is only Meretz Yisrael. There's a medrash here that says that the Eibush didn't want that there should be Nigei Begodim because these are the Begodim they had was Begodim Shalnes. So they grew with them. So it doesn't make sense. And even if you say it's only Shaykh and Eretz Yisrael, the pasuk could have said, okay. That's one nakuda. And then the second nakuda is taka. Why is there a neged saras? Rashi says, "Besurahi." It's good news. Shanegoyim boim alayim lafi shed. Because the lashon the pasuk is, it's mashma like it's a kisavoyo that it's Canaan. When you're coming in there, it's Canaan. You should know. And this is a special thing. I'm giving you lachuza. And then venosati neged saras. So Rashi says, no, Besurahi lahem, it's a good news. And going by Malayim, Lisha Minna Mare Matmani Shal Zov, Bekiris Batem, Kolarabam Shan Yisrael Bamidbar. They hid the Zov in their walls. By that, Nega Noitet Sabai Samoitzan, he destroys the house and he finds all the
It
gold.
doesn't make much sense. You get a nega because people should know it. So what the punishment? You're going to find jewelry.
What does it? Yeah, it's exactly Madrashas Chalukis. Look inside, let's read a few of the Madrashim. I mentioned the other day about Torah Shleima from Menachem Elokashis, so I figured why not? I'll make a copy of it so you see the gist of what he does. Torah Shabbat and Torah Shabbat. On every pasuk, he brings every Maimah Chazal and Torah Shabbat from the Gemara, from Medrashim, from the Zoyer, from the Tanchum, Torah Koyanim, everything. It's just that he got a little older, to his older age, when the Bereshis, Shmois, he did a lot of haporis and he worked very hard and he wrote at the end Miluyim. After Parshas Bo, he has 35 prokim of different interesting things like Shabbos. I was mentioning, Psak Savyad from a Roman Goy and this and that, Papulim, Teres Koyim, Berash Mashan, all these things. He didn't have that much koyach. I mean, he just, cut and paste. So the earlier Parshas in the Torah, this guy put in a ton of work. And the ha'oris are like ungeschwollen ha'oris. Anyway, it's still a nice sefer. Let's just pick a few of the small ones. Kuf Mem Zayin. Kuf Mem Zayin is v'nasat neged saraz b'bayis kosher l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu lifshet yodeh ba'odam hazeh Oma ha'oise Maser b'tchila v'achach malka oise shno v'nasat neged saraz b'bayis eretz HaKodesh tchila malka beis choyze b'mutet v'im la'av malka b'godeh. Now I beg the Shiur by neged saras. Chaza by mutar. Mla by megufa shnemer adam kiya be'er besare. Which is interesting. According to this medrash, first the bias, then the beged, then
the last one is the one.
Right. So it's Moshe Kapoyer, the way it's in Torah Shabbat. Look in the bottom because it's going to be relevant later. We want to talk about it. He quotes the beautiful Rambam in the end of Tumas Tzaras and Perek Tezayin Halacha Yud. You see, this is a beautiful thing that he does always. Mm-hmm. So this is a Medrash Tanchuma, and he found that the Rambam bases himself on the Medrash Tanchuma. The Rambam says, "V'zev hashinu yomer bebgodim ubebotim shekarato Torah tzaratz b'shutlas Hashem ein minhag shalom. Elo isu pelo hoya b'Yisrael kedei lazim lashon hara. V'masap lashon hara mishtanas kiris beise. V'mchaza bo yiter abayis. V'mama b'rishoy ad shehuta tzabayis mishanen kliya oir.
That's killing, not
the begodim, right? Who yoshe v'shoichet chazav yitter Amad Brisha Chisor from Mishtan Habgodim She'alav. Chazav Yitim Amad Brisha Chisor from Mishtan Oiroi Nitztara v'Yemuvdal Meforsim Lavada Actually Isasik the Sichos Rishonim Shehu Alatzanos V'Lashon Hara. So basically, he's saying that the marker from the Rambam was a Beferish Medrash a Tanchuma. Okay. So that's one thing, is the Rambam. By the way, this Rambam reminds me very much. That was Hashgacha Yona when COVID hit here in New York. That day we were learning this in Rambam. Yeah, yeah, and I remember at the time we were saying like what Hashgacha brought this. And I was thinking maybe the Balad Musa, maybe some of the Chevra that are busy. I'm not saying Lagrus, I'm saying Lamal Yusa, that are busy being mefasim the Sifrei, the Chafetz Chaim, Shmir Saloshin will a little bit use this Rambam. I didn't see so much that it's Taka, that the world became a place where Meret Loshin Hora Goyim.
Actually, one of the starkest is Rav Brian of all the community leaders. He's saying it's Hashem telling us he's in control.
I'm talking about specific. This madness.
The good, the good it wasn't. The good it did the Lashon Hara. This.
Okay, I'm saying it's interesting.
Just
okay. Next. Simakov Mamches when Sati Neger Tzaras. Amala Kadosh Baruch Lo Shetis Svonin Lo Yemeshe Mikre. Beshvil Lagzer Bochem Eveis Alabotim Tzaras. When Sati Neger Mito Ti Amak. Miti maybe it is. Page Reishu. Do you see parrots? Oh, you didn't get a copy? 210.
They gave him.
Yeah.
209.
Yeah. So the Eibusha says never think that it's b'mikra. When a person gets a tzaras, it's in order for them to do tshuva. It's a simon to do tshuva. Similar, this medrash is the previous medrash. When a sati neged tzaras, next one kuf memtes. Amar bihuda v'chi besura lahem shabayim alam nagoyim alavoi bo elahazah loshen hora shemikosh l'adam bo soifoi shemachri v'zbeisi. It's a very interesting loshen. It's a besura and it's being mazah loshen hora. It's like funny. We'll talk about this one. Then there is the classic, the Vayikra Rabba, the next piece, Kufnun. That's the classic that Rashi is basing himself on. Obviously, Rashi is Pshut Shamikra, but I mean, you see that the Rashi, Tony the Bchir V'chibesur Elhem Shanagoyim Boim, Tony the Bshum Beichai, Kim Shasham Aknam, Shisro Boim Alayim, Omda Bitminu, Mamoinim Bebotim Besodis. Omar HaKadosh Baruch, Ni Yiftachti Lavisayim, Shani Machnes is benamed La'aretz Malaya Kol Toiv. Shanema Rubotim Malayim Kol Toiv. Ma Kodesh Baruch Hu Oisa. Megare Nagoyim Bebeisoi. Behu Soisroi. Omoitza Boy. Sima. Sima we know means Oitza. That's why in brackets they put it here. Oitza. Okay.
Who's the source? What's the source there?
This is the Medrash. The Medrash Rabbah. The Medrash Rabbah is probably the most famous, most popular Medrash by Klal Yisrael. It's called in Bereishis, Medrash Rabbah. It's quoted. Bereishis is called Bereishis Rabbah, Shmois Rabbah, and Vayikra Rabbah. But same thing. It's Medrash Rabbah.
But it's like I don't understand these people.
It's Vayikra Rabbah.
Oh,
Vayikra Rabbah.
No, I see.
Yeah.
Person. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's stop at this. Okay, so and then there's one more thing which he doesn't bring. It's interesting why he doesn't bring it, which is the Zohar HaKodesh. The Zohar HaKodesh says another pshat.
He brings the Rashbi.
Yeah, but he doesn't bring the Zohar. And the Zohar says one more reason. The Zohar says that Lishtakha matmunim de tamrim batayu. That's what we already said. And then it says another reason, because there's a ruach mesava, that there's certain houses that they were over the avodah zara, and therefore there was a ruach tumah. And they wanted the only way that so to get rid of it is to get rid of the ruach tumah, and that the Eibishter wants that Yidden should live b'kedusha or b'diura kadisha. So we come to is that we have two opposites in the reasons here. One is a very big positive, one a big negative. One is the Ruach Mesav, the Veret Lashon Hara. And the other one is because the Eibishter wanted to give them Kol Tuv, he wanted to give them Matmonias. So some of the Mefarshim in the Zohar say that depends. For Reuven it was this reason, for Shimon it was that reason. One spoke about it, but it's not so mustaber. It's mashma. The Rebbe says in Lashon Zohar that both are true for the same person. So the Rebbe says like this with the grobe finger, like this. It's hard to imagine that every house when the Yidden came in was destroyed. Such a big chiddush would have said in Tanakh, Medrash. We would have heard of such a thing that when the Yidden came into Eretz Yisrael, every house was destroyed because the Canaanim were big oiv d'avodah zarah. Kamai said it's Canaan. Kamai said there were Befedish and Torah Shabbat all over that the Canaanim were big oiv d'avodah zarah. So it stands to reason that 9 out of 10 families were oiv d'avodah zarah.
They can't be boss.
Oh, Muslims sagen that when a Yid comes and he has the bilus of the house, he's memela the ruach hatumah is nizbatel. Maybe some of the houses, shalom aleichem. Some of the houses have to wait till the Yid moves in and brings in a mezuzah. Maybe you got to wait till he brings in a sefer Torah. Yeah. But at some point, the ruach hatumah gets broken and leaves. You have to say that there's some houses that the ruach hatumah is so strong that there was such a ruach hatumah here, it went into the bilus of a Yid, he put up a mezuzah, he made brachas, he said tefillah, said Gelad and Torah, the tumah is still there. There's no other way. Shvirasan zeh takanasan. The only thing you can do is break it. Okay? Yeah, exactly. So, it stands to reason that this is a starke tumah. So it's interesting that on the one hand, we're saying that the house that is destroyed has a very strong tumah, an intense tumah. On the other hand, we say that there is matmonias. So the Rebbe says the emes is in the general thing of Lashon Hara. You see two opposites. On the one hand, we say, that if it's oisa pella by Yisrael, oisa pella means that dafke by Yidden. The Lashon of the Medrash, some of these Medrashim, sounds like it was like an exciting thing. Besura lohem. That the Eibishter cares about the Yidden. On the other hand, we're saying it's a terrible thing. It's for Avedis. So the Rebbe says that we have in Sefer Yetzirah says ein ro lamata menega ve'ein betoiva lamayla ma'oinig ve'ein bero lamata menega.
Nega v'oneg is the same letter.
Nega and oinig is the same letter. We say ein betoiva lamayla ma'oinig ve'ein bero lamata menega. It's like very simple words, but it's like catchy. Ein betoiva lamayla ma'oinig. There's no toiv that's as good as oinig. Oinig is the best. Oinig is the best. Ve'ein bero lamata menega. Nega is the worst. So nega is the worst and oinig is the best.
Same word.
Yeah, it's the same. Nega and oinig get turned around. Why? Because when a Yid does tshuva, Chazal say b'makom shabal tshuva and tzadikim gemora menim chalalam. So Chazal say that this doinus turn into zachuyis. So therefore, it's an unbelievable thing. It's so you could say that the same when a Yid does tshuva. So first there's a ruach hamasava, and then the Yid does tshuva, and he's mahapech that the nega itself turns into oinig, and instead of having a ruach hatuma, he has oinig, he has a matmonius. Okay, but still we see that this thing is expressed even on only going dafke and nige batin. What's unique about nige batin? Okay, so here's a pilpul. I'll say that at the end of Yuma, Yidas Tshuva Meira, Eber Meshuboisam. So he gets healed, but it's not like it's totally healed. As Doinus Nasla Kishgogas. It's not like totally healed. It's like, a person goes to a doctor, still have a wound. But if it's Tshuva Miyava, it's Doinus Nasa Loi Kizachuyas. It's a Loshen Gemara. Doinus Nasa Loi Kizachuyas. Pilpul. Here's a question. The Rebbe says, what's the pshat in the Gemara? One way of learning it is, it's in the Gavra. the person, nasa loy, it's mashma and lashon gemara, nasa loy, the person, like the Alter Rebbe says in Perek Zayin and Tanya, that what does it mean that the sin turns into a mitzvah? He ate a piece of chaza. What's the chaza? No, the pshat is that because he feels such pain and anguish that he was so far from the Eibishter, so that pain and that anguish propels him to go forward so much more than a tzaddik gomor. It pushes him up all the way. So that push came from the tshuva, came from this doinus. So doinus nasalak is a chuyas. So according to that, it's in the gavra, the person. But there's another way of learning it, based on the Lashon Alter Rebbe in Tanya also. In Perek Zayin, the Alter Rebbe says that something is also something is mutter. Also means there's a knot, and it's in the hands of the Chetzonah. Mutter means there's no knot. You could use it for kedusha. You can elevate it. The Alter Rebbe says a Lashon that something which is also la'olam ad ki yava yomim v'yibula hamavis l'netzach u'meshkosav asruach hatuma avim in haaretz, that there will be no more tumah. Okay, oi. That's when Mashiach will come. Oi, ad sheyasa tshuva gedola kol kach shezdoinus nasalak ezachuyas mamish. So there's two diukim here. Oi, what's the oi? The mashma that just like ruach hatoma, when Mashiach is going to come, we're saying that there'll be no more ruach toma. Mashma, when a person does tshuva gedola shezdoinus nasalak ezachuyas, means that just like the Mashiach, we say that the Yetzer Hara turns into Yetzer Tov, the Ra turns into good. So Ruach HaTumah Avim and Haaretz means that there'll be mamish, no more tumah. So it's mashma that the same thing here. Furthermore, the Alter Rebbe adds the word mamish. So it's mashma that the chefza, the thing itself turns into something positive.
Like we say, Chaza will be kosher.
The Chaza itself becomes kosher.
Mashma is like the word.
It sounds like, yeah. And the Emes says, the Rebbe says that a little bit sounds that way because the Alter Rebbe brings over there Tanya that Chazal say, what's a mu'uvis lo yochel iskan? That he slept with an erva and there's a mamzer. So now the mamzer is walking around on the street. So it's lo yochel iskan. He can't fix it. He can't bring it back. It's a mu'uvis lo yochel iskan. So Alter Rebbe brings from other Memor Chazal, it's mu'uvis lo yochel iskan. So okay.
Mamzer can marry the mamzera?
Yeah. And they can have more children.
So the next generation of mamzera.
Yeah. That's why we say it's uvis lo yuchel iskan. There's nothing he can do. He can't
change it.
He can't change it.
There's no way for them to change.
No way to change. Yeah, there's ways eventually that
He kill himself, he change everything.
That's a shame, but
the kids.
So it's mashma that the Alter Rebbe learned that the pshat is like this, that Chazal say movas lo yuchel iskan. There are specific cases that even if he did tshuva b'ava rabba kazu, which is an unbelievable ava rabba, that it's movas lo yuchel iskan. Mashma that a regular tshuva b'ava rabba is a movas sheyochel liskan. When Chazal say keholid mamzer, or at least that Ma'amar Chazal, like if the Meyashiv everyone, but at least in this Gemara, when the Gemara says Shezeh sheholid mamzer is mashma, this is a very extreme case because the mamzer is alive and he's walking around this world. There's nothing he could do.
It's not the mamzer's fault.
No,
What's the difference?
He's a mamzer,
It's the parents.
right? But it's mashma that anything less than that is a mu'uvis sheyochel iskan. So it's mashma that the Aved itself becomes, instead of a something crooked, becomes straight. It's mashma that this doinus itself could be turned into zechuyas.
So
the sin itself, not only for the person, the sin itself turns into good. The bad itself turns into good.
So this mamzer.
Exception. The exception is the mamzer. And even with the mamzer, there's exception to every exception. There's a Mittler Rebbe talks about sometimes it's
story about Shonto.
Yeah, story.
Crying to the
Okay. So back to what we're talking about. So a person does tshuva, his doinus turn into zachuyas. One way to learn it, it's in the gavra, the person. The person gets propelled up. One way of learning it is that the aved itself turns in, the chazah turns into kosher. Wow. Mele Moshe Mashiach, we heard.
Like this one.
So I'll say the chazah turns into kosher. Mashiach comes, I understand. But now we're saying a chiddush. Oh, so it's a very big chiddush.
I had a guy, I was working by Mendes, he tell me, did you ever test pig? I said, no. So you don't know what you're losing. This way,
The other way.
I say, I look normal, I'm alive, I never tested. I don't want to test. I don't know what it is.
You're not
I
missing
couldn't
much.
believe it.
You're not missing.
Wow,
We're not.
Okay. So the Rebbe says, again, another few minutes in the pilpul, that we have a concept in halacha, adava sheyesh lematirin. Adava sheyesh lematirin. So we say, for example, a neder. If a person said that this piece of bread is to him like a piece of chazer.
He made it.
He made it like a
for
piece
him,
of
not
chazer.
that these things
So it's a yesh lamatirin because he could go to a bezdin and he can undo the neder. So it's a davar yesh lamatirin. Davar yesh lamatirin is not bottle. Why? This is discussed in the Shonim. Why? One reason is the Ran says because it's
What's not bottle?
It's not bottle. If this loaf of bread will fall into another 2, another 60, 120,
It's not bottle.
it's never bottle. Why? The Isa is not bottle. Why? Because he says it's usually something becomes a bottle. Min b'she'ein min. Min b'min is more complicated. He says this is not min b'she'ein min. It's min b'min because that's heter and this is heter. Even though you think it's isur, because potentially it could be matter.
For others, it's allowed.
Right.
Like a case on.
And so l'choda when a person sins, saying there's a big chiddush by tshuva. That tshuva changes the past, the yesterday. What was yesterday? So the Rebbe says because tshuva is different. Tshuva is not adav sheyesh lamatirim. B'shas a person does a chet, a person that does a chet, and he says echta v'oshuv. Chazal say ema speaking tshuva. You can't do that. It's against the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Taka the Eibishter said, "Hey, no, the moya achad mimenu." The Eibishter gave mechira chavshes, but the Eibishter doesn't want the person. The Eibishter says, "Im b'chukaloi seteleichu." I'm asking you, please go with mine chukim. So therefore, it's not like a davar sheyesh lamatirim. You could say that machatchila, it was also. So the Rebbe says that's why it makes sense that tshuva is an unbelievable chiddush. It's a chiddush. B'shas, it's b'shas the chet. It's not shaykh to say. It's a davar sheyesh lematirim. You can't say that. And right now, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want him to eat a chazah. And if he eats it, chutz v'shalom, it's negative. It's not HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And a person could never think b'shas hachet echta v'oshu. So therefore, it makes sense why the Torah would separate the Negoyim and the Tahara in 2 different parashas. Of course, the idea of Negoyim is to be mahapech. The negatoineg, it's to be mahapech. This doineg should become into zechuyas. The side of the Tahara of a Metzora is like the idea of a Baal Tshuva. It's an unbelievable Tahara that makes this doineg and zechuyas. You can't put it in the same parsha. It's like a chiddush davar. B'shas the chet, you can't put it in the same parsha. Where there's the chet, that's in one parsha. The Eibishter decided to put in one parsha we're going to put the chet, and in another parsha we're going to put the tahara because they don't fit together in one parsha. They don't fit together in one parsha. What's the exception? The exception is by nige batim. Why is nige batim an exception? Because we know in Torah Sasoid that there is the person, there is his clothing, and the house. The remez on what's the remez on the person is the person. The clothing is makif ha korev. When you get a jacket, You measure based on your hand, the pants. You measure how long your feet is. A house, you don't measure based on how big you are. It's big. So it's Torah Sasso, it says like this.
17 and
Like this, this is small. It'll be
That one's gigantic.
it'll be big. It'll be tall into the sky and be big. So that's Meramas. Makif HaKorev is Meramas in the Dagid and Hashem, which is not Begila in the Guf, but is Korev. And Makif HaRochik is Meramas on the Neshama, which is not Begila in the Guf, but is like awesome, which is the far, which is, that's why it's Makif HaRochik. So how does a Yid Be'emes do tshuva and change the past, which is Kapella? How do you change yesterday? And how do you do, number one, you change yesterday, and number two, you turn the Zechuyas, Zdoinus into Zechuyas. Elamai, because the Neshama is a very powerful. The Neshama is connected to the Eibishter, which is Hoya Hoya V'yeh Ke'echad. Neshama could change the yesterday into today. What yesterday was, a Zodin could turn into today in a schools, and he can go backwards in time, which is something that doesn't happen in this world. This doesn't happen. Not exactly, a time machine. Goes back in time and changes it. So it's a big pella. So where is the Torah that said that where do we see it the most? The Emma says it's an only going, it's that way. But where do we see it the most? In Nigei Batim. Why Nigei Batim? Because bias is merames, the three types of tumas, just like we said, like that there's the bias, there's the begodim, and there's the person. So in soy, the bias is the strongest. It's
living in it.
It's that's why, as I'll say, call me she'ein loy bias eine adam. It's not exactly the words of the Gemara. It's in Yevomis Samach Gimel. The words of the Gemara. Shekol isha she'ein lekarka livna sela bias eine adam. A lot of times it's quoted, "Kol mishein labayis ein adam."
I'll say married and have a house.
Kol mishein labayis ein adam.
No man.
Yeah, that's true. Beit is a ishta.
Yeah.
It has this lot of the So, but because the idea of the bias is meramas on the neshama, which is makif rochik, and therefore it has to do with the kol mishein lo karka livnas labayis. It's negate to the person himself. So therefore, the Torah is merames that all three nigei oir habasor nigei begodim nigei batim. All three is really we take the nega and we turn it into oinik. But where do we see it the most? In the other ones, the Torah decided to put the Tilma in one parsha and the Tahara in another parsha. Can't sit in the same parsha. It's a chiddush davar. But Metzad in Nigei Batim, which is an unbelievable thing. Nigei Batim is meramas on the neshama, which is the neshama. So over there we could put it together. We could put the oining and the nega together.
Is it so high?
Yeah, because it's so high. So it's nicker. You could see right away that the oinig, the purpose of the nega is for the oinig. Mashenken and the other.
It did such a tshuva, the house breaking, and now you find the gold in the house.
That's why.
I say before, you'll talk Lashon Hara, and what happened to you? You find gold, make no sense.
It's not tshuva. It's on tshuva. It turned into Ruach HaMasava.
The house itself turning to be a gold, not a.
Now instead of Ruach HaMasava, he gets gold. Begashmis, he gets gold. Okay, so let's be masakim. So number one, we said that there's a stira between the Maimar Chazal. Here we say it's get rid of Ruach HaMasava, and there we say it's to make the Yidden rich. They should have matmoni shel zov. That ever says that they're not a stira. That's what Sefer Yitzira says. We have to turn the nega into oineg b'mahapach doisis. So when he does tshuva, this doinus itself turns into zechuyas. So the whole idea of toiris hatahara is the idea of making tshuva. Okay, but befrotus all three negoyim is to turn the nega into oinig. But befrotus, there's something special about tumas batim, which is merames on the neshama itself, which is makev arochik. So in the other three tumas, b'shas you're in the oinig, you don't see the nega, and the nega you don't see the oinig. But the Maila in Mitzad, this Dag and the Neshama, that even though when he's still in the place of Nega, he can already see that the purpose is Einik. Sometimes people go through things in life, very, very painful things in life. And they wonder, why did they wish to make it that way? Why did they have to go through such a difficult thing in
Who is
life?
the Oinig in the
They don't see the Einik.
Right. Only later.
Later, sometimes, a person sees an unbelievable Einik. And sometimes people go through a difficult thing and they learn an unbelievable skill in life through that. Sometimes they learn a skill that they could teach others. If they hadn't gone through that difficult thing in life, they don't know what it is. They don't see it. They're not attuned to it. They don't understand
the places that drugs rehab and all this is people that fell down so low. Only they are the one that could run a house like that.
Exactly.
And they know how low you could go.
You have sometimes people like that.
Sometimes they become
They are
volunteers.
the ones that want to get it.
Right.
I'm not going to let nobody else to fall where I am.
So the Maile Nigibatim is that Metzad the Neshama itself, that he's still in the Nega, and he can already see that the Tachlis of the Nega is in the Einik. But Bemis by all of them is the Ikir is to be Mahapach the Nega and the Einik. The Rebbe says that you could say it emes. I'm sorry.
It seems like the nega, it's more than everything else, because when somebody has nega, go to the Kohen and the Kohen give him another chance, I'll come later, or a few
Right.
times. But with the Begadim and the Adam, it's one time deal. Only with the nega, it's
No, go also.
they give him chances.
You have to show to the Kohen. You can't by yourself. You have to show to the Kohen. The Kohen said, "Oh, come on."
I'm not so much. At the end of the week, I'll be a little clearer. Most of them have 3 weeks. Most of them have 3 weeks. I'm not sure. There's some.
No, but the Kohen can few times.
Right. You
Yeah,
get
Boulevard, yeah, Kohen son,
right.
But it's few times,
Right.
only for the nega.
Because
When you had something with the Begadim,
if you didn't start on the show, it's go further.
Right.
but how come the nega get like more privilege than the other thing? It's all three bad.
That's how bad is Hoshana.
Well, all three have that. Each one has, you may hezger, you may hechlet. Each one has, a period where the kohen comes and he checks and then he comes back. In each one in a different way. The begad, if each one has simone tuma and simone tahara. The skin, if it spreads, or it has say a lavon, or it has
it's also why this one is white and one is red and all this is also
right. And the begodim have simonim. Each one has different simonim, and they have 3 week period. Here's the emes that ever says, the Eibishter wanted the Eden should find the biggest treasure. The biggest treasure is the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. So that's why the Eibishter allowed that there should be a churban. And through that, the Eden will find the Matmonius, which is the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. The Eibishter will help them that we're busy now in finding the treasures. To find the treasures, the Metzora Hashem to build a Mikdash Meyad. That Metzora Hashem that should go together with building the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi b'Beir b'Yemeinu Mamash. Right. We just have to find a little mat. A little mat.
Actually, look at those walls. You might find something. Some presidents over there.
The person has an infection in the body. It's a good thing or a bad thing?
Right.
It's very good. Why? Because the body says, I'm fighting it. I want to
And they
check that out.
learn how to fight it.
So the body fighting, and then you have like a mugla, or what is it called in English? Infection. And then all the juice come out. That means the body says, I don't want you in my body. Go out. So the infection is a good thing. How show someone an infection in a place where you don't see it could spread the whole body and kill him.
No, there.
They said the nega is good to show you, take out the
bad thing.
how the wood change.
Nega noinik.
Don't move, Leah. Now,
Chaim l'chaim.
Chaim.
I think it's also a way that.
Machatchila the oinig.
Yeah, it should be only on it.
ברוך
Should not
אתה
go
I
to
put a text.
ברוך
text.
שבראת.
Amen.
חי עולמים.
I put a text that. You want to know.
בבר מצווה, בעצם, פרשת קורח.
Yeah?
קורח.
And when are you gonna go?
Before that, a couple of days before.
Yeah, very good.
So when it's for the bar mitzvah,
No, I almost saw the Friday.
there's a big land back.
Yeah?
Things like.
It's an hotel, it is
Yeah, I mean.
7 grade,
trucks
to
back
learn
to-
Baalpeh Mishnayot.
Into rooms.
The bar mitzvah on Shabbos
We have
kosher
an
Kodesh?
example.
On Kodesh?
No. שבת באותו נתניה, יש פרשת קורח. בר mitzvah is 2 days before,
Okay, fine.
או ביומו. Sure,
כל
hotel, and then מרדכי,
Doug's the librarian. I
for the
hear.
bar mitzvah, one for sure.
Actually,
You could spend a couple
קורח with the bar mitzvah,
What?
you
a
connect
couple of years.
he came actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
at the page, that's it.
For both.
Doug was not.
People love
he
it.
texted
And the other one, page. People like when they're short.
Was on the street tonight.
No, I'll play it. You can remind me. that.
Dave's the only one who was on the street tonight.
שבאו We need one, no?
Yes, I texted.
Yehudit.
Hindel, but Shendel.
Yeah, please.
Just heard them.
Rosen, while we're waiting, he had the indistinct stump the rabbi,
Where?
the face-up program,
Where? In the,
the face, whatever.
no, who's the rabbi?
There was 3 rabbis.
Let's hear.
What's it?
Huh?
They asked them a question, didn't have an answer. One